This is Off the Court with OG. My name is Christian Charisma. If you're new to the show, each and every episode, NetsGC's general manager and head coach OG King Curt takes us behind the scenes over at Nets Gaming Crew, the NBA 2K League affiliate of the Brooklyn Nets. On episode 23, we'll talk about everything that happened during week one of the tip-off. But before we get things going, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Zenni Blocks. Make sure to armor your eyes with Zenni Blocks virtually clear blue blockers. Whether you're streaming your favorite TV shows or playing your favorite video games, we know you're spending hours in front of a screen. So it's important to protect your eyes from any harmful blue light. Zenni Blocks will not only reduce eye strain, but also improve your sleep. That way you'll have all the energy you need to watch NetsGC throughout season 5. Make sure to visit zenni.com/gaming and follow Zenni Gaming on Twitter and IG. Make sure to also follow Nets Gaming Crew on all social platforms. Without further ado, let's start the show. Curt, episode 23 of Off the Court with OG. Before we dive into the tip-off and everything that happened in week one, let's just take a moment to talk about things outside of the game. How are you doing mentally, physically? Give us the vibe check.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm doing pretty good. I've actually been confident in the team, of course, in its performances, but just overall, New York treat me well. The weather's a little iffy, but other than that, it's just, now getting to go through the grind and not just practice. Now you have practice, and then there's games involved. So that definitely relieves the monotonous of the same thing over and over again. So overall, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better to kind of change things up. Last week, Curt, couldn't really have gone any better for you and NetsGC with the team getting wins over Grizz Gaming 73-60 before notching another victory over Hornets Venom GT 76-67. By the time this show goes live, Brooklyn would have already played Toronto, but as it stands right now, again, a perfect start. Tell us about what the general mood is like there over with the team.
Yeah, we, of course, it's best to be 2-0 instead of 0-2 or 1-1, but we still feel like we can play better. And I think that's been the overall vibe from the team and everybody, even Doc, at the performances that he had, he felt like he could should have made more shots and made more plays. So we're definitely working to improve each and every day. Sometimes it's a struggle more than others, but that just comes with the territory. So definitely glad to be 2-0, but working towards getting better.
Love to hear. Viewers of the show, Curt, if they've seen previous episodes, this is episode 23, they know we're all about providing behind the scenes context to what's happening over at Nets Gaming Crew. And one thing I want to quickly talk about, because it is going to be relevant again in the matchup against Raptors Uprising, is on opening night against Grizz Gaming, the guys had to deal with a concert blaring in the background. What was it like having the Strokes play at the Barclays while you guys were playing your tip-off opener?
That's one of I think the most unique things about playing for Brooklyn is that, our facility is located in the Barclays Center, and no matter what's going on, we have to play or we have to practice. So that particular night, I think Shots, the night before, he said, man, we're going to be playing during this concert, and then he sent a screenshot of the band that was going to be playing, and we all kind of laughed like that. We didn't know, or didn't look ahead to see that we were actually going to have to compete during the concert, but it worked out well. Of course, we won, and then after the fact, some of the guys went out there and watched the concert. So it's a pretty unique thing.
Yeah, most definitely. And I can, I'd imagine that it can only help for when the team finally gets to play at LAN and it gets a little bit louder than usual.
Oh, without a doubt. That's the other thing that we talked about too, is just getting preparation for, playing it live in Indianapolis. I mean, especially for the rookies who haven't experienced that, but it definitely it will help. We're on suite level A in the Barclays Center, and that's like dead smack level with the speakers and sound systems that's coming from the Barclays Center. So we hear it all and we feel it all.
Great acoustics. Normally I'd wait until the very end of the show, but hey, the NBA 2K League is trying a new format this season, so we may as well change it up this week as well on Off the Court. We're finally bringing back the Off the Court with OG game ball. For those who watched this series last season, in season 4, we gave the ball to one standout individual on the team. This is, I'm going to guess, unless you throw me a curveball here, Curt, this is probably as easy as they come this season. But Curt, who gets the first game ball of the year?
Definitely Doc. Averaged over 30 points a game. I'm going to leave it up to you to give all the numbers and the analytics, but definitely some dominating performances in his first 2 games. And like I said, he's hungry for more. And with that, being said, he was nominated for Player of the Week as well. So hopefully we see how that turns out. And actually, probably an announcement will either be made before this airs or maybe after the fact. But we got some push from the Long Island Nets, the New York Liberty, Barclays Center, and hopefully Big Brother chime in and help him get some votes and bring home the first Player of the Week this season.
Yeah, I love it for Doc. He dropped 32 points against Grizz Gaming, and then he gave us like an actual encore the night after, outdoing himself, dropping 33 against Hornets Venom GT. At the time of this recording, he's currently second in the league in scoring, well deserving of the game ball. Just some other numbers, just because Curt asked, 65% from the field and shooting a crazy 63% from 3. But the one other stat that gets kind of buried in underneath all of this, Curt, and I want you to kind of maybe chime in on a little bit, is that he's also averaging 3 steals per game, which I believe leads NetsGC.
Yes, I've said this time and time again, is that he doesn't, get credit for his off-ball defense. Even last year, I mean, of course, he loaded up a few times and played lock, but also at the shooting guard position, he plays phenomenal defense, off ball, right up there with Kai from T-Wolves game, and I think who's a phenomenal off-ball defender. But that's something that helps our defense with him being able to play great defense on a non-defensive build. Is definitely an advantage that's been working for us.
Now, you mentioned the defense. We've made a lot about the team's defense, whether it's on social media, in our live tweets, in the recap articles, the previews. I do want to dive into the defense a little bit more, but maybe we'll save that for next episode. Instead, I do want to keep it moving along and continue to focus on this young backcourt that you have here in Brooklyn. We've praised Doc for his unreal start, Curt, but now let's hone in on the rookie Tate at point guard, selected with the 46th pick in the draft. I think it's safe to assume that Tate's development was always going to be instrumental to this team's success this year. Point guard is just you have to have production from the point guard spot. Talk to us about maybe what you've seen from him over the first 2 games in his young career, and maybe shed some insight on some of the conversations you two are having as he continues to grow into this role.
Yeah, Tate is a talented player, learning a lot, and it's been a roller coaster experience for him that we kind of expected. I mean, with his background and playing on a competitive scene, but not always playing with some of the most elite players in the community, I think that's played a part in it. And that'll always play a part in anybody's development, because sometimes when you do more with less, you don't always know what it feels like to play with players that you don't have to do as much for. And so developing that chemistry with him and Shots and him and Doc and everybody else has been something that has just been a constant work in motion. I think the more games that he gets under his belt, the better that he's going to become. We've talked numerous times. I think, one of the things that probably frustrated him the most out of the first two games is just not the ability to not make shots. And I think that, like I told him, that's something that's going to come in time. I mean, in our game, 2K, I mean, that's a up and down thing sometimes, especially, for point guards and at times. So I think for him, it's just continuing to be a game manager, not turning the ball over. 23 assists and three turnovers in the first two games. We couldn't ask for anything better than that. So I think as long as he can game manage, be productive, not turn the ball over, and make timely shots. If especially when you're playing with somebody like Doc, who's on a roll like he is, I think you just need to do the little things, and everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, that he's taking care of the ball. And as a result, it's giving him an environment where he can kind of safely learn on the fly. When you're not making mistakes, you can kind of, afford to maybe miss a shot or two here and there. So great stuff from him early on. Can't wait to kind of see how that development progresses throughout his rookie season. But finally, let's look ahead to week 2 of the tip-off. Again, at the time of this recording, we don't know the outcome of the NetsGC / Raptors Uprising game. But let's again review or preview all three. So NetsGC will be taking on Toronto this Tuesday, April 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then they'll follow that up with a game on Thursday against Magic Gaming at 7:30. And then finally, NetsGC will wrap up the week against New York rivals Knicks Gaming on Friday. Friday, April 15th, but this time that's a late game, the game of the week for the league at 10 o'clock p.m. Again, all times Eastern. Set the table for us, Curt. What can we or what do you expect, or what do you want to see from your roster throughout this week and group of games, particularly the upcoming one against Toronto, because that first place spot is being fought for early in the week?
No, definitely. Toronto Raptors Uprising has played, well, 3-0, and they have a rookie PG as well that's getting off to a good start. Got Dimes at center, something that we're not used to, but of course, what I've always learned or thought, and I talked amongst my friends and brothers of the 2K league, is that if you play point guard, you should be able to play every position. I mean, that's the way we always looked at it. Now, what level you play it at, that's TBD. But you should have a concept of being able to play multiple positions. And then you got Tate, who's been one of our good players in the league, and Kenny. I think that he hasn't been talked about enough through their games. And then Saint is arguably one of the top blocks in the league, and I mean, had a great season last season. A dual threat. Not only does he make good plays on defense, but he also is a threat at scoring the ball. So I think the name of the game for us is going to always be the same: take care of the ball, get good possessions, make shots, and then of course defend. And I think if we can do those things, then everything else will take care of itself. And that's what we've been able to do. I mean, one thing about it, I mean, we showed some fight in the Hornets Venom game, because we got down early, and it actually looked like Hornets were in position to make a run, and we fought back and tied up the game, and then it was nip tuck until we finally broke away at that point. But I think just keeping the game close and staying competitive, and I think we got a shot. I mean, I'm pretty confident in my team. I'll pick us up against anybody if we're playing our game.
For sure. And then the back end of this week, again, the aforementioned teams, Magic Gaming, the Knicks Gaming, it's a back-to-back, but it's an interesting one because on the first night, you're taking on another rookie point guard in Cap, and that Magic Gaming backcourt still kind of trying to find itself. And then you follow it up the next night with a New York Knicks Gaming backcourt that is very familiar with what they want to do. Talk a little bit about the difference between the challenges that those two teams provide you.
Yeah, I think Magic Gaming is a team that's trying to, figure himself out. Get some identity on both sides of the court. They have, some new people and different positions. And like you said, they have a rookie PG that obviously, it's some PGs that have came into this league and you give them the keys and, they're driving perfect. And then you have other PGs that come into the league and they got to take that collision course and get better as time goes on. And I think that's been one of the things with Magic Gaming. But they got some pieces over there that's going to fight and scrap and try to figure it out. And then you got Knicks Gaming, like you said, you got Duck and Original Malik. They've been one of the top backcourts since they've been paired together. It's just, you don't want to let them get going together. You kind of want to limit them as much as you can. And I think, the more we can limit them, the better chance we have. They think they're going to obviously have a chip on their shoulder about the way their season ended last year, and definitely going to be looking to make some noise this week because they let some games fall by the wayside, last week. So definitely they're going to be looking for some get back, and it's going to be closeout week. A lot of teams are going to be scrapping and clawing trying to make it to Indy. So. And we're one of them at the moment as well. So it's going to be a good competitive week at 2K.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this new format. If we thought last week's set of games were intense and exciting, I can only imagine what this week will have in store for us, but we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. NetsGC has put itself in a position due to the early 2 wins in week 1 to finish at the top, or at least near the top of its group. That does it for us here on Off the Court with OG. Curt, any final thoughts or words before we sign off?
No, just make sure everybody tune in to the last week of group play at a tip-off and catch NetsGC on the NBA 2K League Twitch or YouTube channel, and follow Nets Gaming Crew on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and just support us and let's see what we can do this week.
Remember to tune in to all the action for week 2 of the tip-off. The official broadcast can be watched live or on demand on the league's Twitch and YouTube channels. We'll leave a link below. One final shout out to friends of the team over at Zenni Blocks, and make sure you check them out at the link, which I'll also drop in the description box. While you're at it, make sure to follow Nets Gaming Crew on all social platforms. If you like today's content, feel free to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel on the way out. Crew Access episode 6 dropped yesterday, so give that a watch. On behalf of Curt and everyone over at NetsGC, my name is Christian Charisma, and this was Off the Court with OG.